Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. We got a lot to talk about, lots of news this morning. You can see that watch list right there. We'll get into it in just a minute. But first, just want to remind our VIPs we do have our weekly meetup. We're going to do it tonight at 9 p.m. EST. There's no particular agenda on the table right now. We'll let you know throughout the day what we're going to be covering tonight. All right, so going to be a tumultuous week, volatile week, most likely. Going into a week with elevated risk, I would say. I've been talking about this last week. I've been raising some money, selling calls. So we got FOMC Wednesday. So we're looking at 0.75%. Who knows? Maybe 1% increase in interest rate on Wednesday. We have earnings all week, big tech earnings. I believe Google and Microsoft are Tuesday. And we got Apple and Amazon Thursday. Apple, to me, is the most important one. Not so terribly concerned about what the other ones do. So that's a big picture. You can see here, QQQ spies up. Risk assets, Bitcoin down a little bit. I think some of this pressure is because Tesla sold off a lot of their Bitcoin. I think most of it. So that's the story there. And, I think let's look at these resistance levels on QQQ. You see the resistance level there on the 20 DMA, 311. You can see the 200 DMA here, 265. But again, I'm just going to remind you of the 200 week moving average. Just keep looking at that. I was just listening to Nouriel Roubini on Bloomberg, and Nouriel, I think he was one of the guys who accurately predicted the great financial crisis, right, in 2000 or so. Which was in the 2008 one. Sorry, that was so 2008. I think he pretty much accurately predicted that, and he was on Bloomberg just talking about everything I've been warning about. His sure will happen. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but basically stagflation, right? Stagflation and a prolonged recession, potentially worse than the Great Financial Crisis. That's what he is concerned about, and I have to say, if we go below the 200-week moving average, right? Not just like intraday, but like we have a full weekly candle below it after, for example, bad news on Apple. Now, that may not happen this quarter. It might happen next quarter. That could happen, right? I'm not convinced it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's certainly something we got to be aware of, and it could happen. I was very gladdened to see wheat and corn really drop last week. It's upticking now. This is on that agreement Russia made with Ukraine. You can see wheat collapsed to basically prices pre-war. So did corn. So hopefully things like that, and you got to look at oil and natural gas as well. Let's look them up. If these can stay low, maybe we can avert what Nouriel's talking about and what I'm worried about. Maybe we can avert it. So, oil's still kind of elevated. It hasn't gone back to the pre-war levels, but it's near. It's not bad. Oh man, natural gas is taken off. I don't know what's driving it, to be honest with you. Wow, that is crazy. Back near the highs very quickly from below 20 to 28. Unbelievable on UNG. All right, so let's get into some specific stocks. Just be aware of that risk. I've been raising cash. I think it's the prudent thing to do. If you miss it, you miss it. That's fine. You don't have to be all in when the market proves the bear is wrong. If that happens and this ends up being the bottom and we run for years, well, that's fine. You don't need to catch the very bottom. I just think it's elevated risk this week. But anyway, there's some news. SIGA, last Thursday, we talked about SIGA on this show, but also in the chat rooms. I was saying I think it's time to look into SIGA because of increased bad news about SIGA, increased orders of vaccines I was talking about that were coming through. And then this weekend, we had a global health emergency announced by the WHO. Now, actually, back in the day before I did story trading, I was primarily a headline trader. And by headline traders, I don't necessarily mean reacting headlines, but anticipating headlines. That's what I used to basically voraciously read the news and did nothing else. I didn't care about technicals much, didn't care about fundamentals much. All I did was read every single article I can get my hands on at Drudge Report, CNN, Daily Mail, Twitter feeds. I just try to anticipate the next thing. And that's kind of where this came in on Thursday when I was like noticing the big increase in monkeypox doubling week over week in New York City. And then they started talking about vaccine orders. I'm like, maybe this is the real thing. It ended up looking like it could be the real thing. I think SIGA is close to breaking out at a 52-week high. I'm not about to predict for you what it will do today. I sold puts Thursday and Friday. Breakouts are very hard, right? I basically given up playing the breakout game. Doesn't work. So I'm selling volatility. I sold puts both on Thursday and Friday. Those should expire worthless. I can probably buy them back today very cheap and maybe sell the next strike up. We'll see. But a couple other actually monkeypox stocks, which I don't like, but just so you're aware of them. GOVX, you can see, is up 70% this morning. TNXP is up 9% this morning. I think people are running AEMD. I don't like any of these names, up 9% this morning. I only like SIGA, but there's another one, someone from our community, I think Matt brought to our attention, BVNKF, which is another legitimate company that sells monkeypox vaccines, I think more so in Europe. Look at this. In 3 months, it's tripled. Very thinly traded, 3 billion market cap, but I guess it's somewhere out in Europe. So it's just like the, it's not the actual shares here. It's like an ADR type of thing here with the F. So you get very, very low volume on it. But this is a real stock, probably worth looking into. They're selling vaccines. SIGA, they're getting lots of orders. You can see their news flow, probably worth looking into fundamentally. And you know what? Look, it's coming up to this support here. I might actually play a little bit to the long side on pullbacks. I think this is going to have a tailwind, and probably you got strong resistance at 15. Then you got the 52-week high, 1571. So there's going to be big resistance levels. Maybe I'll pick some up, but I think I'm going to play mostly the puts and the calls, selling them on the pops and drops. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. All right, we got a little bit of other news here. VTSI this morning, they scheduled their fourth quarter earnings call for August 2nd. Now, they've been very behind schedule. You'll see that right here, they had said they're going to cure it by August 20th, I believe. It's in there somewhere. Later in August, I don't know the exact. Well, it's not showing up right now. Where is it? I read it this morning. August. I can't find it, but whatever, it's ahead of schedule. Okay, so we're going to assume they're going to be curing this late notice here a little bit ahead of schedule. I'm still obsessed with finding the exact date here. I saw it. I read it this morning. Okay, listing extension granted. There it is. Okay, August 12th. So August 12th was their deadline. They had told people who had talked to management they're going to meet that deadline, and now we're seeing that instead of August 12th, it's going to be August 2nd. I'm just assuming this means they're going to file. It's not just a conference call like it was last time, right? That's an obvious assumption. So that's the story there, August 2nd. And then I would think we'll, in quick succession over the next month or two, hopefully we'll get the Q1 and the Q2 reports out. So they got some catching up to do. One of my larger positions, I'm not really expecting anything, honestly. I'm not going to anticipate anything here. I'll react to the news. I do have a nice position. I sold cover calls, $5 calls for 30 cents. I did it last month, did it again this month, only on my trading shares, like 60-70% of my trading shares. If you go back and listen to the Q3 call, or maybe it was even the Q4 call where they didn't have their full results, but they were just discussing them on a high level. On either the Q3 or the Q4, they were talking, there was some hidden, very subtle negative commentary in terms of their profit and their expense level. So I don't know. I may be wrong about that. You may want to look at that. But because of that, my expectations are a little bit tempered. I'm not expecting any big numbers on the EPS side. Okay, I think this call that we're going to get August 2nd, it's mostly going to be about the discussion because this is old data. This is data up until December 31st. We're now July 25th. So whatever they report is really kind of meaningless. It's all going to be about the discussion because they have now 7 months of data that they know of in their heads or in notes on their piece of paper that's not going to be officially reported on August 2nd, but they're going to be speaking to it. They're going to be hinting to it. You can maybe infer things from their tone regarding what has happened since December 31st. So you really got to tune in to that conference call to know what's going on, and don't overreact to the top line and bottom line numbers that's going to be reported, because it's old numbers. Okay, just keep that in mind. So VTSI coming in, and obviously you can see we've been being pushed down by this 20 DMA for a long time. It's not able to overcome it yet. This is the 50. Let me just check where we're here. Yeah, it's a 50, the 20 and the 50. So nothing's cooking here until we get news and it pops above it. You can probably get a small event anticipation run here going into earnings next week. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, by all means. A couple other things to point out. NewScale has been on a tear. SMR, I mean, just consistently going up. This is that nuclear play. I did add actually more to my position last week. Still a small position for me, but I don't know how to value this at all. It's very early stage, very capital intensive. But I like that it's like a pure play in the nuclear space, and it's an alternative way to play rather than just uranium. It's actually a nuclear company. Very cool. So I think that can give it a sentiment premium, no matter what the fundamentals are. I think this can have a premium. So I'm comfortable having a small position in it now, until maybe at some point we get some collaboration in the community to figure out what this could be worth. All right. It's going to be a very hard exercise, because I mean, I don't know what you compare it to. Okay. A couple other. Whoa. No volume there. Okay. I thought maybe there's something. No news on DRIO yet. No. Relax, guys. Okay. Relax, Ben. All right. So a couple other things. MP, it's been on my radar for a long time. I like this because of all the commodity inflation. There's rare earth minerals. It's taken a hit because of recession worries recently, but this made it over the weekend in the S&P Midcap 400. That's the reason for the 6% boost. It's still right up below the 20 DMA. Just bringing that to your attention. I don't have an opinion on it one way or another at this point. Maybe selling puts. I think it could be a little bit risky because of recession worries. So that's the story with MP. Man, I'm just totally thinking about selling puts and calls lately. That's it. It's just too volatile. All right. We have for the news. I soured on GOEV. I sold everything last week. There've been some insider sells last Thursday, Friday. There were more insider sales just reported, I think, this morning. It's an interesting story. It could always explode just based on, retail purchases and sentiment and things like that. But they just have to raise so much money, and there's so much dilution come in to fund their business plan that, it did not break out of that cup and handle, which was what I was hoping for. It broke down, didn't break out of that cup and handle. So I'm out for now. Maybe revisit it as a trade. And let me just make sure there's no news on DRIO. I don't think there is. We're waiting for the National Health Insurance Plan, and it doesn't look like it's out yet. So that's the story. Wow, SHLS. We noted this as a technical play last week. Oh, wow. Only 6 shares. That doesn't count. But in any case, we'll see what happens on the Wolf Spaces, Financial Spaces show that I'm a panelist on tonight. I'm going to look at that GEVO news. But last week I had put in PLAB and ZIM. I thought I was going to win. Man, I was winning for most of the week. We'll find out the winner tonight. But it looks like UNG is going to be the winner. Someone picked UNG last week. So I may not end up being the winner because UNG was perfectly timed by another person on the panelist. But we'll take second place. We'll see how today turns out with PLAB. And I'll take a look at that news that just came out on GEVO. Curious about that. Interesting company to keep track of. GEVO, don't have a position. And with that, guys, we'll be communicating today in the chat rooms. We'll see you at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. And again, we got a tumultuous week. Don't be a hero. Forget about call options. Forget about breakout trades, in my opinion. Get ready for some volatility. Get ready for big tech earnings. Get ready for FOMC interest rates on Wednesday. And be careful out there. I'll see you guys in the chat rooms. Thanks for joining.